Liam adjusted the dials on the console, his eyes fixed on the flickering screen. The space station, Orion 7, hummed around him, a quiet orbit above Earth, where he'd spent the last 6 months tweaking sensors and repairing circuits. At 32, he was the youngest engineer on the team, but his knack for solving problems had earned him respect. Tonight, though, the usual chatter of the crew was absent. Most were asleep, leaving Liam alone in the control room, chasing a faint glitch in the radar. The signal wasn't normal. It pulsed irregularly, like a heartbeat, cutting through the static of space. Liam frowned, running diagnostics. Asteroids didn't send signals. Satellites didn't hide in the belt 300,000 kilometers away. He leaned closer, the glow of the screen lighting his unshaven face. "What are you?" he muttered, fingers flying over the keyboard. He boosted the receiver, narrowing the frequency. The signal sharpened into a stream of data, numbers, patterns, something deliberate. Liam's pulse quickened. This wasn't random noise. It was a message. He hesitated, glancing at the comms panel. Protocol said to wake the commander, but curiosity tugged harder. He patched the signal through an old decryption program he'd built as a hobby, nothing fancy, just a tool to crack forgotten satellite codes. Minutes ticked by. Then, words appeared on the screen: help. Stranded. Alone. Liam froze. His mind raced: prank, hoax, or something real. He typed a response, hands trembling. "Who are you? Where are you?" The reply came fast: Kalia. Ship in asteroid belt. Need assistance. Urgent. Liam sat back, staring at the name. Kalia. Not a callsign he knew. Not human, maybe. The asteroid belt was too far for a stranded astronaut, and no mission was scheduled there. He checked the station's logs, nothing matched. But the signal's strength meant it was close, cloaked somehow. He grabbed the radio. "Commander, you need to see this." 10 minutes later, the control room buzzed with activity. Commander Nora, a stern woman with gray-streaked hair, studied the screen. "Could be a trap," she said, arms crossed. "Pirate spoofing signals to lure us out." Beside her, Tara, the station's pilot, nodded. "Or a malfunction. We've got no visual on a ship." "It's not a malfunction," Liam insisted. "The data's too clean. And pirates don't beg for help, they ambush." He pointed at the coordinates. "Let me send a probe. If it's nothing, we drop it. If it's real, we might save someone." Nora's eyes narrowed, but she trusted Liam's instincts. One probe. No risks. Liam grinned, already prepping the launch. The tiny drone shot into space, its camera streaming back grainy images of rocks and dust. Then, a shimmer, a distortion in the void. The probe's sensors spiked. "Cloaking tech," Liam whispered. "That's no human ship." The feed stabilized, revealing a sleek vessel, all curves and glowing lines, nestled between asteroids. A hatch opened, and a figure emerged, tall, humanoid, but with skin that shimmered like liquid silver under the probe's light. The crew gasped. "Alien," Tara said, voice shaky. Liam patched into the signal again. "Kalia, we see you. Are you hostile?" The reply crackled through, "No. I am Vorin. Fleeing my kind. Need your help to stop a threat." Nora cut in. "What threat? Why us?" Kalia's voice steadied. "A weapon. It endangers your world and mine. I need a human to unlock my ship's core." Before they could debate, an alarm blared. The station's sensors lit up, 3 smaller ships, uncloaked, streaking from the belt. "Incoming!" Tara shouted. Liam's screen flashed as the probe feed died, blasted apart. The station rocked, lights flickering. "They're firing." Nora barked. Defensive mode, now. Liam scrambled to the power grid, rerouting energy to the shields. The attackers, Vorin, like Kalia, moved fast, their weapons spitting blue energy. Orion 7 wasn't built for combat, but Liam knew its systems inside out. He patched a surge through the outer hull, frying one ship's sensors. It veered off, crashing into an asteroid. One down, he muttered. Nora glared at the comms. Kalia, if you're legit, prove it. A pause, then Kalia's ship pulsed, sending a beam that disabled a second attacker. The third retreated. Silence fell, broken only by the crew's heavy breathing. She's on our side, Liam said. Nora nodded reluctantly. Bring her in. An hour later, Kalia stood in the docking bay, her silver skin glowing faintly under the station's lights. She was tall, with sharp features and eyes like molten gold. Her voice was soft but firm. Thank you. I am Kalia, last of my line. My people, the Vorin, hunt me. They fear what I carry. What's that? Liam asked, stepping closer despite Terra's warning glance. Kalia met his gaze. A ship with secrets, tech to save or destroy. It's locked to my biology, but I need a human bond to access it. A bridge between species. Bond? Nora snapped. Explain. Kalia's expression tightened. A link, mind, body, spirit. Temporary, at first. It's my duty to stop the Vorin weapon, but I can't alone. One of you must join me. The crew exchanged looks. Terra shook her head. Nora scowled. Liam felt a spark, fear, yes, but also wonder. He'd spent years fixing machines, chasing patterns in chaos. This was bigger. I'll do it, he said, voice steady. Kalia's eyes softened. You're brave, human. What's your name? Liam. He squared his shoulders. If this saves Earth, I'm in. Kalia nodded, a faint smile breaking through. Then no one can see us now. It's time to fulfill my duty. The station's lights dimmed as her ship docked fully, its presence a promise, and a threat. Liam's ordinary life was gone, replaced by a mystery he couldn't resist. Whatever came next, he'd face it head-on. The docking bay of Orion 7 felt colder than usual, or maybe it was just Liam's nerves. Kalia stood before him, her silver skin catching the faint light from her ship's open hatch. The crew, Commander Nora, Terra, and a handful of wide-eyed technicians, watched from a distance, their faces a mix of distrust and awe. Liam's decision to bond with this alien stranger hung in the air like static, crackling with possibility. He didn't know what bonding meant, not really, but the attack from Kalia's pursuers had left no room for doubt. Something big was coming, and he'd rather face it head-on than hide. Kalia stepped closer, her golden eyes steady. The bond is our first step, she said, her voice soft but carrying a weight that made Liam's stomach twist. It links us, your mind to mine, your strength to my purpose. Without it, my ship stays locked, and the weapon my people plan to use stays beyond my reach. She held out a small device, no bigger than a coin, its surface etched with glowing lines. This will start it. Liam glanced at Nora, who gave a curt nod. She didn't like this, but the destroyed probe and the retreating Vorin ships had forced her hand. What do I do? He asked, taking the device. It was warm, pulsing faintly in his palm like a living thing. Place it on your chest, Kalia said. I'll wear one too. It syncs our biorhythms, heartbeats, brainwaves, a little of everything. It's temporary for now, a test. If it works, we deepen it later. Her gaze flickered, a hint of something unspoken. Liam pressed the device against his shirt, right over his heart. It stuck, humming softly, and a faint tingle spread through him. Kalia mirrored him, attaching her own device. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a jolt, like static electricity, shot through Liam's chest, and his vision blurred. He stumbled, catching himself on the edge of a crate. Images flooded his mind, not his own. A vast, starry sky, a burning planet, screams echoing through a metal hull. He saw Kalia, younger, running through corridors as explosions shook the walls. Her memories, he realized, sharp and vivid. What the hell? He gasped, shaking his head to clear it. Kalia steadied him, her hand warm on his arm. It's normal, she said quickly. The bond shares pieces of us. You'll adjust. Her voice trembled slightly, and Liam wondered what she'd seen from him, his quiet life, his late nights in the lab, his stubborn refusal to give up on broken machines. He pushed the thought aside as the tingling faded, leaving a strange awareness. He could feel her presence, not just beside him but inside him, like an echo. Nora stepped forward, arms crossed. Does it work? Can you access your ship now? Kalia nodded, moving to the hatch. She pressed her hand against a panel, and it lit up, responding to her touch, and, faintly, to Liam's heartbeat pulsing through the bond. The ship's interior unfolded, revealing a control room of smooth curves and glowing consoles. It's awake, Kalia said, relief in her tone. But I need time to find the weapons data. Before Liam could ask more, Tara's voice cut through. Commander, sensors are picking up movement, 3 ships, same signature as before. They're back. The crew tensed. Nora barked orders, sending technicians to stations. Liam turned to Kalia. Your people. She frowned, checking her ship's display. Yes. Voran enforcers. They want me silenced. The station shuddered as the first blast hit. Liam ran to a console, pulling up the shield controls. They're faster this time, he muttered, fingers flying. The bond buzzed in his chest, sharper now, and he felt Kalia's fear spike alongside his own. Can your ship fight? He asked. She hesitated. Not fully, not yet. The bond isn't strong enough. Then we improvise, Liam said, a grin tugging at his lips despite the chaos. He'd spent years jury-rigging fixes for Orion 7's outdated systems. Alien attackers weren't so different from a busted generator. He patched into the station's comms array, boosting its signal to a deafening screech aimed at the Voran ships. The interference scrambled their targeting, and one veered off course, grazing another. Take that, he muttered. Kalia watched, her golden eyes wide. Clever, she said, joining him at the console. She adjusted her ship's beam, firing a precise pulse that crippled the second attacker's engines. The third ship retreated again, but the damage was done, Orion 7's hull groaned, alarms blaring. They'll keep coming, Kalia warned. They know I'm here. Nora stormed over, her face grim. If this bond keeps us alive, make it work faster. We can't hold them off forever. Liam nodded, turning to Kalia. What's next? She hesitated, then led him into her ship. The air inside hummed, alive with energy. She sat at a console, gesturing for him to join her. The temporary bond lets me access basic systems, she explained. But the weapon's location, its controls, it needs more. A deeper link. What kind? Liam asked, sitting beside her. The bond pulsed again, and he caught a flash of her, standing on a cliff, staring at a double sun, determination etched into her face. She met his gaze, her expression softening. Physical contact strengthens it. Emotions too. Trust, mostly. The Voran designed this tech to bind allies, not strangers. It's personal. Liam swallowed, the weight of it sinking in. So, what? We hold hands and hope. Kalia smiled faintly, a rare crack in her calm. More than that. Sit closer. He did, their shoulders brushing. Her warmth seeped into him, alien but grounding. She placed her hand over his on the console, and the bond flared, vivid and electric. Liam's mind opened wider, her memories of fleeing her home mixed with his own of fixing Orion 7's engines under pressure. Their breaths synced, hearts beating as one. The console lit up fully, data streaming across it. Kalia exhaled sharply. It's working. I see fragments, coordinates, blueprints. The weapon's a disruptor, meant to uncloak every Voran ship on Earth at once. Liam frowned. Why's that bad? She turned to him, her eyes intense. Exposure forces bondings, hundreds, thousands. My people would control yours through it. Enslavement, not alliance. Liam's jaw tightened. No way we let that happen. He squeezed her hand, the bond humming with his resolve. Another memory hit, Kalia arguing with a towering Voran, his voice cold, humans are tools, not equals. Her defiance burned through the image, and Liam felt it echo in himself. We stop it together, he said. But the moment shattered as the station rocked again, harder. Tara's voice crackled through the comms. They're boarding. Outer hatch breached. Liam leapt up, Kalia beside him. The bond tethered them, a lifeline in the chaos. Weapons? He asked. She grabbed a sleek rod from the wall, its tip glowing. This stuns. You. He grinned, pulling a wrench from his belt. Old school. They raced to the docking bay, where Voran enforcers, tall, silver-skinned like Kalia but with harsher features, poured through a smoking hole. Nora and Tara fired pistols, holding the line. Liam ducked a blast, swinging his wrench into an enforcer's knee. It crumpled, stunned by Kalia's rod a second later. Nice teamwork, he panted. She nodded, a spark of something, pride, in her eyes. The fight was brutal but brief. Liam's quick thinking, tossing a power cell to overload a Voran scanner, gave Nora an opening to drive them back. The invaders retreated, sealing the breach behind them. The crew slumped, exhausted. Kalia leaned against Liam, the bond pulsing with shared relief. They'll regroup, she said. We need the full bond soon. Nora approached, wiping sweat from her brow. You two held your own. But this station's a sitting duck. What's the plan? Liam glanced at Kalia, feeling her determination through the bond. We dig into her ship's data, he said. Find that weapon before they hit us again. Inside the ship, the bond deepened without warning. Liam caught a glimpse of Kalia's duty, her oath to protect both worlds, even at her own cost. She felt his stubborn streak, his refusal to quit. You're more than I expected, she murmured, her voice soft. He smirked. You too. Let's keep surprising them. The console glowed brighter, revealing a partial map, Earth, dotted with Voran outposts. The weapon was close, hidden in orbit. But as Liam traced the coordinates, the station's alarms screamed anew. They're not done, Kalia said, gripping his arm. The bond tightened, a promise and a risk, as Orion 7 braced for the next blow. The alarms wailed through Orion 7, a piercing cry that jolted Liam's already racing heart. He stood in Kalia's ship, her hand still on his arm, the bond between them buzzing like a live wire. The console glowed with a partial map of Earth's orbit, pinpoints marking Voran outposts and the weapon they hunted. But the renewed attack left no time to study it. The station shook, metal groaning under stress, and Tara's voice crackled over the comms. They're inside. Inner corridors, Sector B. Liam exchanged a glance with Kalia. Her golden eyes narrowed, sharp with focus. They've breached deeper this time, she said, grabbing her stun rod. Taurus leads them, he's relentless. Liam didn't know the name, but the bond flashed an image, a towering Voran with jagged scars across his silver face, his voice a growl in Kalia's memory. Her fear spiked through Liam, mingling with his own adrenaline. "Who's Taurus?" he asked, snatching his wrench. "My cousin," Kalia replied, her tone bitter. "He commands the enforcers. He believes humans are a threat to be crushed, not partners to be bonded." She moved toward the hatch, Liam close behind. "He'll take me, or kill me, to stop this." Liam's jaw tightened. "Not if we stop him first." They burst into the docking bay, where chaos reigned. Voran enforcers clashed with the crew, their sleek weapons firing bursts of blue energy. Nora ducked behind a crate, returning fire with her pistol, while Terra wrestled an attacker near the airlock. Liam spotted a group of 3 Voran advancing toward the control room, tall, silver-skinned, their movements precise and deadly. Leading them was Taurus, his presence unmistakable, scars glinting under the station's flickering lights. Liam acted fast, diving for a loose cable sparking on the floor. He yanked it free, the bond guiding him with Kalia's quick thinking. "Overload their sensors," she shouted, catching his intent. He jammed the cable into a power junction, sending a surge through the bay's lighting grid. The bulbs flared, blindingly bright, and the Voran flinched, their tech stuttering. Kalia struck, her rod dropping one enforcer in a flash of light. Liam swung his wrench, cracking another's arm, and Nora finished it with a shot. Taurus turned, his gaze locking on Kalia. "Traitor," he snarled, his voice deep and cold. "You'd bind us to these primitives." He raised a weapon, a jagged blade humming with energy, and charged. Liam shoved Kalia aside, taking the hit on his shoulder. Pain seared through him, but the bond dulled it, Kalia's strength flowing into him. He rolled, grabbing a fallen Voran gun, and fired. The blast grazed Taurus, who staggered but didn't fall. Kalia lunged, her rod meeting Taurus's blade in a shower of sparks. "You'll destroy us all," she hissed. "The weapon's madness." Taurus laughed, a harsh sound. "It's control. Your bonding farce ends here." He shoved her back, aiming for Liam next. But Terra tackled Taurus from behind, giving Liam a chance to stand. The crew rallied, pushing the remaining enforcers toward the breach. Breathing hard, Liam grabbed Kalia's arm. "We need that weapon's location, now." She nodded, the bond pulsing with urgency. They retreated to her ship, sealing the hatch as the station rocked again. Inside, the console flared to life, the map clearer now. "The disruptor's in low orbit," Kalia said, tracing the coordinates. "It's nearly ready. Taurus wants to activate it, force bondings worldwide." Liam's mind raced, the bond feeding him her dread. "Expose every Voran, control every human," he muttered. "We'd be puppets." He studied the map, spotting a pattern, power relays linking the outposts. "If we hit those, could it delay them?" Kalia's eyes lit up. "Yes. But we'd need to get close, too close." A crash outside jolted them. The hatch dented inward, Taurus's blade cutting through. "No time," Liam said, grabbing a toolkit. "We hold them here, by the crew time." Kalia nodded, syncing with his plan through the bond. They braced the hatch with a metal beam, but it wouldn't last. Liam rigged a spare power cell to the console, setting a trap. "When they break in, this blows," he said. "Non-lethal, but messy." The hatch buckled, and Taurus stormed through, enforcers at his heels. Liam triggered the cell, and a wave of sparks and smoke erupted, disorienting the Voran. Kalia stunned too, but Taurus pressed forward, blade slashing. Liam dodged, the bond sharpening his reflexes, and tackled Taurus into the console. They grappled, strength against strength, until Kalia's rod struck Taurus's back. He roared, collapsing, but not before slamming a device onto the floor. A pulse rippled out, and Kalia gasped, clutching her chest. "He's locked my ship," she said, panic edging her voice. "The bond's cut off from it." Liam felt it too, an emptiness where her presence had been. Taurus smirked, struggling to his feet. "You're nothing without your tech, cousin." He signaled his enforcers, who dragged Kalia toward the hatch. "No!" Liam shouted, lunging. He took down one Vorin with his wrench, but another pinned him, Taurus's blade at his throat. "Stay, human," Taurus growled. "She's ours." The enforcers hauled Kalia out, her golden eyes meeting Liam's, fearful, but fierce. "Find me," she whispered through the fading bond, then she was gone. The bay fell silent, smoke curling around Liam as Nora and Tara rushed in. "They've retreated," Nora said, helping him up. "Took her to their ship." Liam's shoulder throbbed, but his mind was clear. "They've got her, but not the fight," he said, voice hard. "She's counting on me." Back in the control room, the crew gathered, battered but alive. Tara patched the sensors, pulling up a faint signal, Kalia's ship, moving away. "They're heading for the disruptor," she said. Liam nodded, the bond's echo lingering despite the lock. He felt Kalia's resolve, her trust in him. "Then we go after them," he said. "No fancy tech, just us." Nora raised an eyebrow. "You're hurt, and we're outgunned." Liam grinned, a spark of defiance lighting his eyes. "We've got brains. That's enough." He turned to the crew. "Tara's, prep the shuttle. Nora, I need every tool we've got, cables, cells, anything that sparks. We're not soldiers, but we're stubborn as hell." The crew hesitated, then moved. Tara smirked. "Crazy work sometimes." Nora clapped his good shoulder. "You're insane, but I'm in." They scrambled, pulling gear from storage, makeshift weapons, rigged explosives, anything to even the odds. Liam's mind churned, piecing together a plan. The bond might be muted, but Kalia's lessons lingered, Vorin tech relied on precision, and humans thrived on chaos. In the shuttle bay, Liam climbed aboard the station's only craft, a clunky repair vessel never meant for combat. Tara took the controls, Nora beside her. The crew loaded their improvised arsenal, determination replacing fear. "We get Kalia, we stop the weapon," Liam said, gripping a cobbled-together EMP device. "No one controls us." The shuttle launched, engines rumbling as it streaked toward the Vorin ship's last position. Liam stared out the viewport, the asteroid belt looming ahead. The bond flickered, a faint pulse, Kalia reaching for him. He closed his eyes, feeling her fight, her hope. "Hold on," he whispered. "We're coming." The shuttle shuddered as sensors pinged, enemy ships closing in. Tara cursed, banking hard. Liam braced himself, the crew's chatter fading into focus. Taurus thought humans were weak, tools to be used. Liam would prove him wrong, not with tech, but with grit. The battle wasn't over, it was just beginning. The shuttle rattled as it sped through the asteroid belt, its engine straining against the patchwork repairs Liam had made over months at Orion 7. He gripped the edge of his seat, the faint pulse of the bond with Kalia flickering in his chest like a distant beacon. Tara piloted with fierce focus, weaving through jagged rocks, while Nora monitored the sensors, her voice tight. 2 Vorin ships, closing fast. "They've spotted us." The crew, 5 humans armed with little more than tools and guts, braced for the fight ahead. Liam checked the EMP device in his lap, a mess of wires and scavenged parts. It wasn't pretty, but it could disrupt Vorin tech if he got close enough. "We hit their sensors first," he said. "Blind them, then board." Nora nodded, her stern face softening with a rare grin. "You're a lunatic, Liam. Let's make it count." The shuttle lurched as a blue energy blast grazed its hull. Tara cursed, banking hard. "They're not playing nice." Liam leaned forward, spotting Kalia's ship on the sensors, a sleek silhouette docked with a larger Vorin vessel, the disruptor's hub. "There," he said, pointing. She's inside that one. The bond pulsed stronger, a surge of Kalia's defiance breaking through Taurus's lock. She was alive, fighting. Terra pushed the shuttle to its limit, dodging another blast. Liam triggered the EMP, aiming its pulse at the nearest Voran ship. A crackle of static erupted, and its weapons faltered, drifting off course. One down, he muttered. The second ship fired, but Nora tossed a rigged power cell out the hatch, a decoy that exploded in a shower of sparks, drawing the attack away. Now, she shouted. Terra slammed the shuttle into a docking maneuver, scraping against the Voran hub's hull. Metal screamed, but the seal held. Liam led the charge, wrench in one hand, EMP in the other. The crew followed, armed with crowbars and stun charges. They pried the hatch open, spilling into a corridor of smooth, glowing walls. Voran enforcers met them, blades flashing, but Liam's team fought with raw, messy human spirit, swinging, ducking, refusing to break. Liam stunned one with a jury-rigged taser, the bond guiding his moves with Kalia's precision. He felt her closer now, a pull toward the ship's core. This way, he yelled, sprinting down a curving hull. Terra and Nora covered him, driving back enforcers with sheer tenacity. A blast singed Liam's arm, but he pushed through, the bond dulling the pain with Kalia's strength. They reached a sealed chamber, its door pulsing with energy. Liam slammed the EMP against it, frying the lock. The panel sparked and slid open, revealing Kalia, bound to a console, her silver skin bruised but her golden eyes blazing. Taurus loomed over her, his scarred face twisted in fury. "You dare," he snarled, raising his blade. Liam didn't hesitate. He tackled Taurus, wrench meeting blade in a clash of sparks. The Voran was stronger, but Liam was faster, fueled by the bond and a fire he couldn't name. Kalia strained against her restraints, her voice sharp. "The console, unlock it." Liam rolled free, dodging Taurus's strike, and slammed his hand on the glowing panel. The bond flared, their heartbeats sinking fully, and the console responded, light surging, systems whirring. Taurus roared, lunging again, but Terra and Nora burst in, pinning him with a barrage of stun charges. He crumpled, blade clattering. Liam freed Kalia, her touch electric as the bond snapped back, stronger than ever. "You came," she breathed, gripping his arm. "Always," he said, a grin breaking through the chaos. The console flared, displaying the disruptor's controls. Kalia's fingers flew over it, the bond feeding Liam its purpose, a weapon to uncloak every Voran ship, forcing bondings on Earth. "It's armed," she said. Minutes away. Liam studied the schematics, spotting a power core. "Overload that, and it's done." She nodded. "But it'll take everything, my ship too." Liam met her gaze, the bond humming with their shared resolve. "Then we end it." They worked together, alien tech and human hacks merging seamlessly. Liam rigged a feedback loop with the EMP's last charge, while Kalia rerouted her ship's energy. The chamber shook, alarms blaring as the disruptor powered up, then faltered, its core glowing red. Taurus stirred, lunging one last time. "You'll ruin us," he spat. Liam shoved him back, Kalia's stun rod finishing him off. "No," she said. "We'll free us." The core erupted, a silent wave rippling out. Sensors across the Voran fleet blinked offline, the disruptor dead. Kalia's ship shuddered, its glow fading as it sacrificed itself. They stumbled back to the shuttle, the crew dragging Taurus as a prisoner. The Voran ships retreated, confused and blind. Terra punched the controls, rocketing them toward Orion 7. Liam slumped beside Kalia, the bond now a steady hum, permanent, unbreakable. He felt her relief, her gratitude, and something deeper. "It's over," he said. "Not over," she corrected, her hand finding his. "A beginning." The bond revealed her duty's end, and a new purpose, unity, not control. Liam nodded, exhaustion giving way to hope. Guess we're stuck together. She smiled, faint but real. I could do worse. Back at Orion 7, the crew cheered, battered but triumphant. Nora reported the Voran retreat to Earth, Taurus's capture proof of the threat. Liam and Kalia stood in the control room, the bond a bridge between worlds. Her ship was gone, but its data survived, outpost locations, tech secrets, a chance for peace. They'll listen now, Kalia said. Your people and mine. Liam looked out at Earth, small and bright against the void. We'll make them. Humans don't quit. The bond pulsed with her agreement, her faith in him mirroring his own. They'd stopped a war, exposed the Voran, and forged something new. The crew gathered, ready to rebuild, and Liam felt it, the spark of human spirit, amplified by Kalia's trust. Days later, Earth's leaders met Voran emissaries, the truth laid bare. Liam and Kalia stood as proof, alien and human, bonded not by force but choice. The talks were tense, fragile, but a start. Back on Orion 7, Liam tinkered with a salvaged Voran device, Kalia at his side. What's next? He asked, half joking. Her golden eyes gleamed. More than you can imagine. The station hummed around them, a speck in the vastness. Liam grinned, the bond warm in his chest. Whatever came, they'd face it, together. Humanity's fight wasn't just survival, it was connection, defiance, or refusal to bow. And in that, they'd won.